Today's video will be part essay, part love letter, but mainly a sort of abstract concert review of me seeing Bon Iver live a few nights ago. Since the quote-unquote end of the pandemic, live music has felt very different for me. What was once a simple, fun night out has become much more sentimental. Instead of mindlessly singing along for an hour, I've been thinking more about all the moving parts that go into a concert and how they combine to form a unique experience. I've been a fan of Justin Vernon and Bon Iver since about a year or two after the release of the beautiful, sad singer-songwriter folk music of For Emma Forever ago. In that time, I've watched this lovable introvert collaborate with Kanye West, win a Grammy for Best New Artist, release another gorgeous folk album, and rise to indie superstardom as he further experimented over the years. Still though, he's much more of a musician than he'll ever be a celebrity. Being a massive fan of his stuff and constantly replaying a bunch of YouTube videos showcasing his live performances over the years, I jumped at the opportunity to finally see him on June 11th of this year. While he's been doing more of an art pop indie-tronica thing with his last two releases, the live videos I've seen from him have remained closer to his traditional soft acoustic vibe, so that's generally what I was expecting from his show. Upon arrival at this pretty outdoor waterfront venue, my friend Chase and I were intrigued by the opener Bonny Horseman. While neither of us had really dug into their discography, their talent was abundantly clear as soon as they began playing. Eric D. Johnson has ridiculous control on his vocals, and his tone reminded me of Asaf Avidan, if you're familiar with him. Eric's like a higher-pitched, well-trained version of Bob Dylan. And then fellow vocalist Anais Mitchell was rather eccentric with her delivery and very emotive with her body movements, which might throw some people off, but I was into it. Guitarist Josh Kaufman set a pretty high bar for the rest of the night. It's cool seeing the balancing act of someone that can clearly shred, but is holding back a little bit for these contemporary takes on classic folk songs. Sometimes less is more, and the subtle, smooth chemistry he had with drummer JT Bates was unreal. One thing I can't recommend enough when it comes to live music: go see the opener, give them your time and respect, because like this situation, I've become a big fan of musicians that I didn't even know were gonna be there. Experience something new and be open to whatever's coming your way. Try to buy into it regardless of whether or not it's typically what you listen to. As the stage was getting set for our headliner, Chase and I were blown away by the scope of this production. The stage design included these almost jagged light fixtures separating the musicians on different platforms, smoke machines, there were two different drum kits, other massive multi-level light rigs, and so on. When Justin and the band walked on and began playing Please Don't Live in Fear, I fully realized my assumption of a soft acoustic vibe was completely wrong. It was a stadium-worthy event full of energy and theatrics to build up these gorgeous songs that are more often than not extremely emotional. That concept made me think of Sufjan Stevens bringing out the explosive side of Carrie and Lowell, but what Justin was doing was absolutely singular. I can't begin to describe the power and confidence radiating from this guy that I've always presumed to be kind of shy and timid. It was like getting punched in the face by Elliott Smith, and I mean that in the best way possible. The opening track welcomed aboard a sold-out crowd to an uplifting, hard-hitting ride featuring truly some of the most talented people I've ever come across. As 666 began, the musician working the live modulation synth stuff was blowing me away. I was curious how the cryptic, glitchy sounds from 22 A Million would translate in a live setting, and I still can't wrap my head around them executing this to perfection. Justin starts singing, the rest of the band follows, building on top of what might seem like just white noise, and it's like they're mad scientists, experimenting on stage right in front of you. Justin's bopping around in place, singing, I heard about it, and it's like he was preaching. You'll come across musicians kinda going through the motions at their shows, singing their lyrics and hitting the notes, but Justin was convincing me in real time that he means every word he says into a microphone. This aspect is even better when I remember that half the time I don't even really know what this dude is saying on his records, but as long as he's passionate about the lyrics, I guess that's all that matters. Pumping his fist as he's saying, putting his full body into it, testifying, "I heard about it," and I'm like, damn, he really did hear about it. The show continues with Heavenly Father, You, Gelmore, I, Me, I Am I don't know how you say that. And the setlist is another aspect that I really appreciate. There's always been a debate with live music about whether an established musician should just play their hits or whether they should play their new stuff, and most artists find a happy medium doing a little bit of both. What I find fascinating about what Justin chose to do on this tour is he's showing you just how great these songs can be when you're hearing them from a new perspective. I've listened to those first 3 albums hundreds of times, but I never clicked with me as much as the others, until I saw a bunch of it live a few nights ago. There's an anecdote I love about Billy Joel recording a live album once he became established, but he wasn't playing the hits or necessarily what came out most recently. He was playing the tracks he thought deserved to be hits, the unsung heroes of his discography that didn't get the attention that he thought they deserved. Whether Justin did this intentionally or not, I fell in love with a ton of Bon Iver songs that I did not realize were as good as they are, if that makes sense. Seeing firsthand the way he puts his energy and aura, every fiber of his being into them, sort of unlocked the puzzle of those studio recordings in my brain. There was no Skinny Love, no For Emma, no Beach Baby, Wash, Hey Ma, no pandering with the massive Taylor Swift collabs. He didn't do a majority of the biggest songs on his Spotify homepage, but there was no part of me that really wanted him to. Everything he delivered was so satisfying, and I do want to shout out the unbelievable band for that too. Every single person on stage was switching in and out of different instruments, which, like, what more could you want out of a band? The adaptability to have 5 people alongside you that can do the jobs of 20 at a high quality is awe-inspiring. For instance, Sean Carey is a multi-instrumentalist, the band director on tour, he was doing vocoder stuff, and there were these moments of him and the other drummer in perfect synchronization. He's unreal. Then there was Mike Lewis on saxophone, who during the song 45 was basically matching Justin's vocoder tone as he hummed, which, again, was jaw-dropping. But my favorite instrumental moment of the night was when Josh Kaufman of Bonny Horseman came back on stage to play a guitar solo at the end of a song. Being that he was the only one actually on the ground of the stage, not on a platform, he kind of looked tiny compared to everyone else, but as he kept playing and shredding like I've never seen anyone shred before, and the lights dimmed on Bon Iver and focused on Josh, it was like watching the climax of a musical in real time, the ultimate main character moment. We got this ground-shaking, no-holds-barred version of Blood Bank, the ethereal masterpiece of 33 God. I saw a woman next to me crying anime-sized tears during restacks, and every moment was perfect. It only feels right that this show, and I believe all the others on this tour, were outside, because his music, the vibe, being surrounded by nature, all of it combined for the single most spiritual concert of my life. I found myself closing my eyes and really breathing everything in, way more than I typically do at a show, and in my daily life. Justin would take his headphones off in between songs to say thank you to the audience, hear our appreciation, and then he would get back to the music. He really seemed to have a ton of gratitude for us being there and helping support him and the band. He went from a guy that was close to quitting music altogether, who then made an album that defines isolation and heartbreak, to a major success, spreading love all over the world through music that doesn't sound like anybody else. It was probably the best show I've ever been to, and I highly recommend seeing them if you get the chance. Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.